How's it going, YouTube pipe smokers? Sitting out on the front porch, enjoying a little tea, smoking a pipe, of course. Today I'm smoking my OMS pipes, Dublin. I've had this one for a number of years now, and it's rarely been smoked. But it's a very nice smoking pipe. It handles just about anything I put in it and smokes very well. So I'm going to start breaking it out and smoking it more often. And in it, I am smoking the Cornell and Deal Carolina Red Flake with Perique 2023. I'm sure most of you know that this just dropped. If you're a fan of this stuff, I'm sure you got your hands on a few. Hope you did anyway. I probably went a little nuts and ordered more than I needed, but that'll be good for my cellar so that I have some to enjoy as the years go on, which I look forward to seeing how it ages and how it changes. But I've just been thinking the last couple of days and decided I was going to make a video on the subject matter about temperance or self-control. When does a hobby become a habit? And particularly as it relates to cigars and pipes. So there was a time when I worked in a cigar shop. I worked there for about 5 years. And for the first couple of years that I worked there, I was smoking probably anywhere from, I'd say 3 to 7 cigars a day. I would get there, depending on the shift, I would get there at 9 o'clock in the morning if I was opening, and I would get there at 11 o'clock if my owner, the owner of the shop, was opening. But either way, I was usually there till at least 7 p.m. or 9 p.m. 5 days a week. So during that time at the shop, there wasn't really much else to do if you're taking care of customers or cleaning up the shop and stuff. You're around cigars all day. So smoking while you're in the shop was to be expected. So like I said, I would smoke typically on average, at least 3 and as many as 7 cigars per day. Fast forward years later, I'm no longer working in the cigar shop. Just started back smoking cigars this past November. And I would say at this point, I'm averaging maybe 2 or 3 cigars a week. And a lot of that would have to do with the fact that cigars are expensive. They're a lot more expensive than pipe tobacco. And I also work a lot now, and I'm not in the cigar shops. There's not as much opportunity to smoke. But now that I'm transitioning into smoking a pipe more, it's a lot more affordable, for one. But there's still the time constraint, obviously. However, I've noticed that when I do have time off, because with my job, we're out of town for a few days a week or maybe a week at a time, but then we usually have a small little break where we're home for a few days. And during that time, I've noticed that I'm smoking a few bowls a day rather than a few bowls a week. So I started realizing that maybe it's time for me to practice temperance, to practice self-control, and not allow my hobby, what I enjoy, to turn into, for lack of a better phrase, a habit. And I only say that because I think all good things should be done in moderation. Now, that is my personal opinion, of course, but I don't want to take away, I think, from the joy of pipe smoking. I know that I really enjoy bourbon. I really enjoy a good Scotch whiskey, but I don't drink them every day. I typically save those for a couple times a week, if the mood strikes me every once in a while, or, maybe on a weekend after a good dinner. But I know that I look forward to those times where I'm able to enjoy the Scotch or the bourbon. And I just don't know that I would look forward to them as much or appreciate and enjoy them as much if I did it every single day. That would probably also classify me as an alcoholic. I don't know. But all that is to say, I've been thinking, when exactly does a hobby become a habit? If you smoke a cigar every day, if you smoke a pipe every day, if you smoke them multiple times a day or multiple times a week, at what point does it actually become a habit rather than a hobby? Is it when you become addicted, when you crave that cigar or that pipe? I don't know. I haven't come to a conclusion. I'm not trying to make a point. It's just airing out my thoughts. Now, I use Swedish snus. It's little pouches of tobacco that go in the upper lip, and it delivers flavor and nicotine. I think it's safe to say that I am addicted to nicotine, it, at least in the form of snus and dip. If I go more than a handful of hours without it, I can tell a difference in my body and my thinking, and I begin to crave it. But I don't crave cigars or a pipe. I can and have gone a couple of weeks without smoking a pipe or a cigar. I have gone weeks without a sip of bourbon or a sip of scotch. But coffee, even, is another thing. Coffee began for me as a hobby. I was not a coffee drinker at all till probably about 2 years ago. Me and a friend would meet at a local coffee shop because he really enjoyed coffee. And we would meet there just to hang out and talk and discuss things or whatever. And every once in a while, I would get a cup of coffee just because it smelled really good. And over time, through doing that, I just started really appreciating a really good, locally roasted, artisan or craft coffee, if those are the right terms to use. I never really started using coffee as a means for caffeine or waking up in the morning. That just never was part of my daily life. It was simply as a means of enjoyment, to enjoy the aroma and the flavor. That's not necessarily true at this point in time in my life. That hobby very quickly became a habit for me. And now I'm a 2 to 3 cup of coffee a day person at this point. I wake up in the morning, I use the restroom, I head for the coffee pot before I even make breakfast. So I guess in the end, personally, I want to keep an eye on myself. Keep some restraint, practice some temperance, and not allow myself to lose the moderation and the enjoyment and the admiration and the excitement of expectation that moderation provides. I like looking forward to that pipe, looking forward to that cigar, and knowing that I am in control of my interests and my hobbies, and that I'm not consumed by them, if that makes any sense. Of course, as I said, the coffee and the nicotine and the source of snooze and dip, that's a different story. That's for another discussion. Yeah, it's just something that's been on my mind lately, just something I'm kind of working through and thinking about. I don't know that it's truly important one way or the other. It's just, that's just who I am. I think about things, I get hung on something, and I have to follow it through in my mind and kind of think it out to the end to the best of my abilities. But I would love to hear your guys' opinions. I would love to hear what you have to say about it. You can either comment down below, let me know what you think. If you would like to elaborate more on your thoughts, maybe do a video response and tag me in it. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys. Y'all have a great day. I'm out.